Look at verse 26. She opens her mouth with wisdom, and on her tongue is the law of kindness. A godly woman also seeks to internalize biblical wisdom so it comes out her mouth. Now, I always think about that. When I was little, we raised Arabian quarter horses. We had, I learned very quickly when I learned to ride this Arabian that you don't use, we're not John Wayne with a farm horse going, pulling those reins back. That horse would stand up on its back legs, its hind legs, if you pulled the reins back that far. It was one of those that you just lightly move the reins. They're very responsive, and you don't jerk it. They have a real responsive mouth. You don't need a great big bit and bridle and rank them like this. That's what this woman's like. It says the law of kindness is what's on her tongue. That governs everything she does. She's very sensitive in what she says. The word is in her heart and life, so it comes out her mouth. And when words come out of her mouth, they are dressed in the Holy Spirit. They are gentle and kind. Why? Because verse 26 says she's internalized biblical wisdom. This download has gone beyond her mind to her heart, and it comes out her mouth. What a blessed woman this is that we can raise, pray for, and encourage. Just two more. Verse 25. It says, "As strength and honor are her clothing. She shall rejoice in time to come." This means that a godly woman also seeks to live out these secrets so the future will smile at her. So that the future is just... I remember when Bonnie and I, almost 19 years ago, were sitting in the second row of Grace Community Church, and this young pastor was there. His name was Gary Ezzo, and he was teaching all of us how to grow kids God's way, he called it. I remember he said something that everyone laughed at. He said, "The teenage years of your family will be the greatest and most wonderful, happiest years of your life." And there were about 600 or 700 of us in the class. And all the ones that had older kids were all going, "Ha, ha, 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 ha. We don't believe it." You know why? Because so many of those parents were inheriting the wind. Because the women and the men, as we saw last week and this week, were not clothed with strength and honor from the Spirit of God, and the future was not smiling at them. Here's the last one. Look at verse 28. A godly woman always seeks to be a person who can be praised for doing the right things. Proverbs 31:28. Her children arise up and call her blessed, her husband also, and he praises her. It was about a month ago. I was down by the little tiny short bed that Elizabeth sleeps in. It's only about this far off the ground. And she had, she fixed all of her pillows. And I said, "No, honey, you got to pray on your knees next to Daddy." So we got there, and we folded our hands, and we were praying. And I prayed, and then she prayed. And this is the first time she'd ever prayed this. She said, "Oh, Lord, help me not to be as bad a sinner tomorrow as I was today." That was a good one. That wasn't the good part, though, because I had been reminding her how sinful she was. And so that was on her mind. And she said, "I want to serve you." And then she paused, and she opened her eye and looked up at me. And she said, "And I want to grow up and be a godly woman just like Mama." Now, where do you think she caught that from? Look again at verse 28. Her children, the godly woman's children, arise up and call her blessed. Why? How do you get your children to rise up and call their mother blessed? Look at the next three words. Her husband does. Do you know what? For the month before, every time we got on our knees by our bed, what Daddy said? "Lord, help Elizabeth to be less of a sinner tomorrow than she is today, and help her to serve you, and help her to grow up and be a godly woman like her mother." Well, she spent a month looking her over, and she finally agreed with it. And she said, "I'm going to agree. I'm going to rise up and call her blessed." And look at her husband also, and he praises her. A godly woman seeks to be a person who can be praised for doing the right thing, who likes to live out the secrets of a godly life in verse 25, who internalizes biblical truth in verse 26, who has a good reputation in verse 23. She's a hard worker in verse 17. She's prudent in verse 16 with her finances. In verse 11, she can be trusted. She wants to serve others, as verse 15 says. Verse 13, she wants to be a homemaker. And all that because she doesn't want to be like the Proverbs 14 woman and inherit the wind.